Subject file designation, X7. Code name, Genesis. The briefing room hummed with the low thrum of the central reactor, a familiar sound to the assembled operatives of Section 9. We were the ghosts in the machine, the unseen hands that guided the fate of nations. Tonight, the air was different. It was heavy, charged with an unspoken tension that even the state-of-the-art filtration system couldn't scrub away. Agent Rook, our commander, stood at the head of the holographic table, his face a mask of granite. He'd been with the agency since its inception, a man who had seen everything. Or so we thought. His voice cut through the silence, sharp and precise. Tonight's briefing is classified level Omega. Eyes only. A flick of his wrist, and the holographic display shimmered to life. A single personnel file materialized in the center of the room, rotating slowly. Name, unknown. Age, estimated 22. The usual data points scrolled by: biometrics, psychological profiles, past residences. All of it was blank, redacted, or simply non-existent. This wasn't just a ghost. This was a phantom, an entity that shouldn't exist in our hyper-documented world. We called him the Chosen One in hushed whispers, a joke to mask our unease. The file continued to scroll, and that's when it happened. A sudden, deafening silence. It wasn't just the absence of noise. It was as if sound itself had been erased from the room. The low hum of the reactor, the soft whir of the life support systems, even the sound of our own breathing, gone. We looked at each other, our training kicking in, hands instinctively moving towards sidearms that were locked away for these briefings. But this wasn't an attack. This was something else. Rook's face was pale under the glow of the hologram. He didn't speak. He just zoomed in on the file, his fingers dancing across the projected light. The data expanded, revealing lines of code and biological readouts that made no sense. Agent Jorik, our resident biochemist, leaned forward, his eyes wide. "That's impossible," he whispered, the sound unnaturally loud in the void. His cellular regeneration rate. It's not just off the charts. The charts don't go this high. It defies the Hayflick limit. It defies biology as we know it. Then came the neurological scan. Agent Vex, our cybernetics expert, let out a choke sound. His neural processing speed. His thinking faster than our most advanced quantum AI. No human brain can handle that kind of cognitive load. It would literally cook itself. The readouts were a chaotic symphony of light and numbers, a storm of activity that was beautiful and terrifying. Each data point was a new impossibility. Heightened sensory perception exceeding any known animal. Bone density comparable to tungsten alloy. An immune system that had not only defeated but assimilated every pathogen it had ever encountered. My heart was hammering against my ribs. We dealt with enhanced individuals, genetically modified soldiers, cyborgs. But this was different. This wasn't an enhancement of humanity. This was a complete redefinition of it. Rook kept scrolling, his expression growing darker with every new revelation. The file was a litany of impossibilities, a testament to a being that walked among us, completely undetected. How could someone, so powerful exist without leaving a single trace? It was like trying to imagine a hurricane that didn't disturb a single blade of grass. The final section of the file was labeled Field Observation. Rook hesitated for a fraction of a second, his hand hovering over the icon. Then he tapped it. The holographic data vanished, replaced by a single video feed. The quality was poor, grainy, likely from a public surveillance camera in some forgotten urban alley. The timestamp showed it was from 3 nights ago. The camera looked down on a deserted street, slick with rain. In the center of the frame, a lone figure stood, his back to us. He was cornered. 6 armed men, mercenaries by the look of their gear, were closing in on him. We watched, transfixed. This was it. The moment of truth. The mercenaries raised their weapons. Muzzle flashes lit up the alley for a split second. But there was no sound of impact, no cry of pain. The figure hadn't moved. The bullets, they had stopped. They hung in the air around him, frozen in space, shimmering like deadly raindrops caught in a sunbeam. Time itself seemed to have bent to his will. The mercenaries froze, their professional bravado evaporating into pure, primal fear. Then, the figure slowly turned. We couldn't see his face. It was lost in the shadows and the low-resolution feed. He raised a hand, not in aggression, but with a lazy, almost casual gesture. The suspended bullets turned in midair, their deadly points now aimed back at the men who fired them. The figure's hand dropped. The bullets flew. The feed cut out. The briefing room was a tomb. The silence that had been unsettling before was now suffocating. We were staring at the ghost of a video feed, but we were all seeing the same thing in our minds. A power that didn't just break the rules, it rewrote them entirely. This wasn't a recruit. This was a force of nature, a living god or a demon, walking the earth in human form. The shock in the room was a physical thing, a cold wave that washed over us. My own reflection in the dark glass of the wall showed a stranger with wide, terrified eyes. All our training, all our technology, all our power as an agency. It felt like a child's toy in the face of what we had just witnessed. Rook's composure finally cracked. A flicker of something I had never seen on his face before. Fear. He looked up from the empty space where the hologram had been, his gaze sweeping across each of us. He was judging us, weighing our reactions, seeing if we were still the elite operatives he had trained or just a room full of frightened soldiers. He slowly raised his hand and with a single, deliberate motion, closed the file. The phantom data vanished, and the low hum of the reactor returned, flooding the room with a semblance of normality that felt like a lie. His voice was low, a gravelly whisper that carried more weight than any shout. It was a command, an absolution, and a death sentence all in one. The words hung in the air, each one a hammer blow. Find him. Now.